Hello everyone and welcome to 2026. So this is the first visit to my sewing room in the new year. My name's Diane and for the last few years I've been sharing with my YouTube friends the stories of the quilts that I've been making. I like to design my own quilts and just have a little play around with fabric really. Nothing too difficult, just piecing mainly, a little bit of applique but mainly piecing. So that's what I've been doing, but in 2025 I changed my way of working a little bit, and so I've started making more quilts, having more projects on the go than I usually do. And so with that in mind, I won't get a quilt finished as quickly as I used to because there's quite a few little bits on the go. And if you're a subscriber to my channel, you might have been notified that I did a little short video on New Year's Eve and I shared with you most of the quilts that I'd made. It wasn't all of them because I hadn't kept all of the images, I lost them. I tried to take off some of the data from my computer as I go, and I must have wiped some of the images off. But I did write out all of the quilts that I did make. So if you have a look at my little quilting diary here, my quilting journal, what I tend to do is I keep a record of all the quilts that I've made. Just take a black and white image. I talk about sizes, the fabrics that I've used, and I tend to put a little swatch. There's a whole row of white fabric swatches there you can't see, and if I've got a bit of salvage with the maker or the designer of the fabric on, I put that in, and little swatches of the bright colours. And so there's little bits of information, so I could go back and find out how many quilts I made. So in 2025 I managed to create 13 quilts for Project Linus and 14 quilts either for myself, my family, friends, or to go into my folksy shop. So a total of 27 in 2025. Some were larger than others, and I'll share with you this page. There's not very much happening at the moment. I am going to do a Christmas in July, and I'll show you some images of why I'm going to do a Christmas in July in a moment. I'll go back to that. I have an ongoing square in square quilt that I'd like to finish this year at some point. I have a pink and green scrappy quilt again that I'd like to finish this year. I just use up all the small pieces of fabric for those. I did come and buy some Halloween fabric. I had no idea what I was going to do with it. I was just, I don't know, there was no excuse really. I just watched Dave's Craft Room, he made lots. I thought I'll have a go at doing that. And so I bought some fabric. I think I might make a sort of Frida Kahlo type face. We'll see how that goes. I also thought I might make a quilt of favourite things. It's been in the back of my mind for quite a while, and who knows, I might do that on another project. And then I've had a request to make a Japanese cherry blossom in pink, some cushions, and I think I'll do a cushion covers, and I think I'll do a bed runner for that. And I will also make Project Linus quilts. I would like to make a minimum of 12, one a month, so the more the merrier, but a minimum of 12 if I can. And on the bottom I've put Marion's World. Now, I have only just discovered Marion's World. She's a UK lady. She lives in the north of England, and she's a very creative person and a gardener, and she does lots of different things, bits of painting and embroidery and dressmaking and quilting and knitting. And she mentioned a couple of days ago her aspirations for 2026. a sort of rough idea of what she was going to share. So she said she's going to do a gardening video one a week, and then she's going to do another video one a week, perhaps sewing. And one of the things she's got two projects on the go, but the one I'm particularly interested in is that she had a sort of advent calendar this year, and she hangs up little things on a string, sort of the 12 days of Christmas. I think she's thinking towards wintry type images. She gets a little bit creative. She made a Brussels sprout and parsnips. I don't think I want a Brussels sprout or a parsnip, but I might be interested in doing that. I'd like to do a little bit of hand sewing, so I'm thinking of joining those. But let me show you now the Christmas. I've started making Christmas quilts. This year I would like to make quilts Christmas in July. And so when I'd finished all the projects that I was working on for 2025, the Christmas quilt was the last one that I'd made. And I was just processing bits of fabric, and I thought I'll put some blocks together with the smaller pieces rather than just have little bits lying around that, you know, I'm not too inspired to work my way through. I'm much more creative if I've got to start, so I thought I'll have some blocks to start me off. So I put some blocks together, medallion style, in golds and greens, a traditional sort of quilt, I thought, and I put that up on my design wall. Now the trouble with the way that I sew, my mindset is still in start and finish quilts, and so I do have to be quite firm and stop myself from completing. And so I'll show you how I got on. So I started off with this medallion quilt, and I thought everything looked really pretty and a nice traditional sort of Christmas quilt, but I was in danger now of completing the flimsy for the top. I was getting a little bit carried away. I had an idea of what I wanted to do for the next round. So what I decided to do was just to put all the pieces that I had ready for the next round. I cut those up, they were all in the bag, and then I decided to pack that away. And then I took out the scraps that I had in another bag, and as you can see from this little image, there are some small pieces of Santa and Christmas trees in traditional colours, and so I thought, well, I'll take those out and I'll see what I can do with those. And so the first thing I did was just to put the 3 blocks together and make these little stars. And I really liked the way that those stars looked. And there was a couple of pieces that were the right size that I could use for the centerpiece of a couple more blocks. And so I decided that I would make a couple of churn dash and pop those in the center there. So there's a little Santa and there's a Christmas tree. And I just put those up on the design wall and had a little look. And now my attention was drawn to those log cabins. So there isn't enough. I was thinking at this point I might be doing a row quilt or a bar quilt, and there wasn't enough of those log cabins to make the full width. And so I thought I need to make a couple more. So I took out sort of the same colours of the fabric that I'd used before, different materials, but the same sort of colours. And I made 2 extra blocks. They weren't quite big enough to go the full width of the blocks above, and so I know I needed to extend those. But before I did that, I got a little bit carried away again, a little bit distracted, and I made 2 of those little stars with the red background, and that will determine the width of the quilt. And so now I needed to extend those log cabins just to make sure that they would go the full width of that quilt. And then there were some smaller pieces left, not big enough to make a whole block, but I could fussy cut those, and I thought they would make the centre of a wreath with a red background. And so I made 3 of those, and I thought that they might look nice with the churn dash, so I popped them all together. Again, I was happy with those. So I was just about to start making smaller blocks to fit on the row or the bar quilt, and then I had to stop myself again and say enough's enough. I'm going to finish another flimsy here. So I packed all of that away, but I still had a couple of those small images of Santa and the Christmas tree, and I didn't want to put those back in a bag, just that tiny little bit. And so I thought I'll make a house quilt. So I thought what I might do is just make one house. I was restraint. That was the key word. Restraint. So I thought I'll just make a little house with a Santa delivering gifts while everyone's asleep, and there's a Christmas tree in the window. And so I made this house quilt, and I think that will make a lovely start of a quilt. I have lots and lots of ideas of where that might go. So then I stopped with that, and I thought, right, I'm going to pack everything away now. And I was beginning to pack away, and then I had a few little bits that I thought, if I don't do something with these, I'm just going to, I don't bin them, but you know, they will irritate me. So I thought I'll put them into a quilt. And then I thought I would make a snowman. And so I do love snowmen. And what started me, let me show you some fabric. So just before Christmas, round about Christmas time, I hit the sales, and this was one of the pieces of fabric. I don't usually buy themed sort of fabrics, but the Christmas ones, they were so lovely. And the Halloween, let's not talk Halloween, but yeah, so I bought these, and I thought I could make a nice snowman quilt and have some of these little snowmen on. But then I thought it would be nice to piece a snowman. So I'll put the image close so that you can see that. And so you can see that I made that lovely little snowman, and this is him close up. You can see he has an embroidered nose, he has button eyes and a blanket stitch mouth and a little Christmas tree on. And again, I had to force myself to stop because I was given a couple of lovely cards that I'm going to keep as reference. I can get them without the shine on. And I thought I might make some little blocks of perhaps a family. And then I had another one. But I also have my own personal collection of snowmen. I've only taken images of the little soft fabric ones, but I've got wooden ones as well that decorate my tree. So I'll put the images on now. And as you can see, they're all different. There's 6, and they're all different, all slightly have quirky personalities. And so I will definitely be making Christmas in July. And so I had the little snowman, and then I thought, that's it now. Christmas is finished for me. You know, once we've all had our get-togethers and we've eaten together and rejoiced in, you know, everything that Christmas is about, I thought I will start packing away. However, I did make a last-minute sale in my folksy shop, and so I had a little bit extra cash, and they had a 60% sale on rainbow fabrics, and so I did go back and buy some more Christmas fabric. And so I will show you the fabric that I bought now. And on the 3rd of January, I think the 60% sale is still on. I'm not affiliated at all. I don't get commission or anything at all from Rainbow Fabrics, but you know, it's worth looking and sharing sales and bargains if we can. But they also said if you buy anything in the 60% sale, you'll get a free gift. And this is the free gift. This lump of penguin fabric that is really lovely. I'll show you that up close. And so when I measured how much there was, it's 3.5 meters. So either that will be a backing of a quilt, or it could be the start of another Christmas quilt. Perhaps I'll make a penguin. A penguin block quilt. Oh my goodness me. So this is what happens. I'm not very stimulated to make anything, or the inspiration doesn't really hit, and then all of a sudden I just become overwhelmed with ideas. So if you did see the video that I put out on New Year's Eve, I did make a request, a shout out, if there's anything you'd like to see me make, you know, pop it in the comments and I'll see what I can do. Now I am also going to make another change to my channel. I don't know how this works. I'm going to open up the community page. So I do post, if I don't have a YouTube video come out for the week, I will put a post on there and explain why or what's happened or what I'm working on. So there is always either a video or a post. But there is a link called a community tab, and on the community tab you're able to upload images of work that you're creating, and if you'd like to share it with other people that watch, you know, my YouTube videos. I have heard some people say that it can be overwhelmed, those sites, with people trying to sell you things. Now, I won't have control over what goes on there. Obviously, YouTube have their own sort of criteria of what's acceptable. So there will be limitations. But from what I've seen on other people's channels, people are chatting to one another, and we have such a lovely community on my YouTube channel where people, you know, chat about what they're doing, and it's really lovely. And I thought, well, if people want to talk to one another and encourage one another and recommend, you know, other sites that they're looking at or whatever, that will be there. I'm not going to be monitoring. I won't be able to answer or, you know, or comment on all the things that you put on there, you post. I will read everything. You know, I look forward to hearing or seeing your images. But I thought I would just offer that. And, you know, if it's not for us, then I can always close it. So there's no sort of hard and fast rules here. Very informal, very friendly, very chatty. So talking about chatty, I think I've rambled enough for the whole of the new year, and it's only the first video. So I am now going to tidy away all my fabric, this Christmas fabric. I'm not going to do anything. No, I'm not going to do anything Christmassy because you know, I've done enough. I'm going to perhaps do blocks through the year, and I will share. I thought what I might do is, if I haven't got a completed quilt, then I will just make a short video for the Saturday usual time. It's 8 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time, and I will post that and show you what I've been working on and anything quilty. So I think that's it now for this week. Thank you very much for joining me on my first video for 2026, and I hope you make lots and lots of beautiful quilts this year. Whether you finish them or not, it doesn't matter. It's just making them and playing with fabric, isn't it? So I will see you again soon. Take good care of yourselves, and thank you for sharing your time with me. Bye.